goal for myself and try to achieve that goal so that way I could continue on. And each night I would learn something about myself or about the car that I had not previously realized before. And I would race against myself all the way through. From the time I started racing, all the way through. I raced for 33 years, and I've always just challenged myself each and every night.
Okay. Now then, you actually went out and ran the figure eight, and you joined a very exclusive group of people in that not a whole lot of women have run in the figure eight division at all, let alone only a handful at the Speedrome. We've had folks like Barb Supple and Cheryl McIninch and a few of the strays, Glenda Hester. But then we had Kim Gibson, actually some success, and I believe also some indoor success.
Yes. The figure eight racing came along when I started racing late models, and I was able to go into the Hoosier Dome and race the indoor races. I believe we raced there 2 years in a row, and we had great success with that. We had to race qualifying races and then make the actual field, and we were able to do that, so that was a wonderful thing. And just the history behind getting to race in the Hoosier Dome, and you know, the midgets had run there before, but the stock cars had never ran there, and so I was able to do that. And we ran at Christmas time, so that was also a very nice time of year because there was a lot of families in town, and a lot of spectators that normally wouldn't get to see us race was able to see us race then. And then with the late model pro stock cars, we also had the World Championship 3-hour figure eight, and we were able to also make the field for that and the starting field. And then you have the alternate cars come in. I raced that and did very well there. And it's a very challenging race, a very tiresome race, and you have to be physically fit to be able to compete in that race. It's 3 consecutive hours on the figure eight without any red flags unless there's major issues. So usually we raced for 3 consecutive hours, and your car, all of your equipment, your crew, everything comes into play on the 3-hour. I mean, I couldn't be here where I'm at today with my racing career if I didn't have the help from my crew and my family. And by the grace of God, I've been so blessed to be able to be here and be able to do this interview today and meet so many fabulous people that I've gone and met throughout my time of racing career.
One thing that always has come to mind, have you ever had a problem being a woman in the pit at the Speedrome and a woman on the track with all those guys? That seemed to make a difference.
When I first started racing, of course, was back in the early 70s, and women with racing was not common whatsoever. There was a handful of us, and that was it, and it was very tough. And then through the 80s, it still was really tough. A lot of speculations, a lot of rumors. Of course, it wasn't true. A lot of things, you know, with sponsorships, you know, it was a male-dominated sport. And I wasn't out there to prove a point whatsoever. It wasn't because I was a woman. It was because I was out there doing what I love to do. I was born around racing. I grew up around racing. My father was a professional flat track racer, and then he also raced dwarf cars on the dirt, and all my brothers have raced, I raced. It was just a family event, a family function that we all enjoyed. So I was out there to do what I enjoyed doing, and I never looked at myself any differently than anybody else. Of course, you know, sometimes other people did, and a lot of finger pointing and things like that, but as the 90s approached, it became a lot easier for women in racing, and nowadays it's definitely significantly easier for women in racing. But 70s and 80s was very, very tough, and then the late 80s and 90s started getting a lot easier.
Getting much more accepted. Now, you're now mother or grandmother. It's been a few years now since you've been behind the wheel and battling it out there. But a lot of folks coming along won't quite understand why it was we had to be there every week. If you had to explain to your granddaughter why you had to be at that track every single week, be out the garage all week long, how would you describe it to her? What was it that was driving you to be out there?
For me, I feel completely different about racing than what most people do. I was out there for my fans. I loved the individuals. I loved having the little kids come up to me each week and want autographs and want to sit in my race car and just wanting a hug or just, you know, just for me to say hi to them made my day. And the people that I've been so blessed to meet, I've been able to go to Riley's Children's Hospital.